Welcome back. We're gonna be working on the Vefreedom bike. I got this old girl. Used to be my city bike. I'd leave it on the side of the street. No one would ever touch this thing. I could leave it West Loop, Roosevelt, California. I could have it sitting on the side of the street without even being locked up and no one would touch this thing. But don't need it anymore. And incidentally, this has a brand new battery in it, which I also got for free. This is another one of those Amazon ones where they claimed it was a 20 amp hour, and we put through a couple tests, and it was a 15 amp hour. So I got to keep the original one, and they sent me this brand new one. So I actually got two for the price of one on this one. Just looking at the holes, I'm guessing we're gonna have to drill some holes because this is mounted with, I think, a 1-inch track. So I'll be drilling some holes in there. We'll see. There's one piece. And we're going to just show you I picked the right one. Yep. And that's the exact one. That's this one. Exercise bike. I could do 25 barely. 22 is kind of where it was happy on the high end, but usually it's about 18, 19 miles an hour is what I do. And pedal along. I lost 25 pounds riding this thing, or I should say I gained 25 pounds since I stopped riding this thing. I don't think we're gonna drill holes. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll get measurements on these, and then I'll print an adapter plate, because we also have on the bottom of the battery it's got the grooves in there. So this actually needs to be raised up a little bit to give it clearance. And then from history, I don't know if you noticed on the other bike, the tail end was bent up like that. That's because there's a lot of slop in this setup, and what ends up happening is the pins wear out and it'll actually short out and melt on you. I've actually had to replace this already. It shorted out when I was about 30 miles from home. I had to put all the stupid thing all the way back. So learned my lesson, and we're gonna have to do something similar on here. And I think this tab was kind of supposed to do that. I found just bending the whole thing up puts enough pressure on it that the battery itself doesn't twist and bounce. So we're going to do something similar. So I'm probably going to 3D print something. A little bump in the rear end, a little junk in the trunk. And I think it'll end up being like that. So we're gonna walk through like kind of the design process a little bit, because I'm not very good at measuring. So like I just did some quick measurements on here, and then what I do is when I'm designing stuff for the bike, especially things with curves, this one was pretty much flat, is I'll create like a stencil. So just real thin, you know, 0.6 of an inch, and kind of just lay it out and then print it and then go, okay, that lines up with those holes. And then my printer's not big enough to do the whole thing, so I was was thinking I'd split it and run a support for the front of the pack and then one for the rear. So I started with that, and then I tested lining up all the holes. So like for the back part, lining up these holes, and ended up that I was off. These were lined up, but this one wasn't, so I had to shift everything. So I went back to the drawing board, and while I was thinking of that, originally I was going to put the bolts through here and then put bolts up this way, or put bolts down and then put nuts in here and make like a raised center. Kind of changed all that mid-plan, so we got rid of those. And then we went with this style. And then what we're testing is I'm going to put those brass inserts in here and then run the bolts up from the bottom. And then I'm going to have a raised lip, because when I was testing on the track, when this bolts down, the battery actually has a plastic channel that runs through, so I have to have a raised lip to get it up over these bolt heads, and it's got to fit down below here. It actually dips down a little bit, so that's going to go on here like that, and then the front's obviously going to be there. So then once I tested all that, made sure all the holes lined up, I went through and I switched out to PETG. It's a lot stronger, and I did a 20% infill. So that's kind of what I'm going to end up with. Going like that. And then you're going to have the track on there. So since I'm not going to actually do this as a permanent thing right now, because right now I don't have to return the batteries, I'm just going to do a handful of holes on here and just to install it, just to see what it would look like, see if it would work. But I'm not going to do a permanent mount and waste all the press and fittings. We're just going to do a couple of them, just enough to hold it down. And I just found out that my Amazon delivery is not going to be here till later, so I ordered some recessed screws to go into the track here instead of a rounded head. So I ordered some recessed ones to fit in there. Hopefully they arrive in the next couple hours, and we can get all that in there. And I might actually be able to use one of the regular heads in here. I thought I had less clearance in that, but we're gonna see. Got the M5 fittings. Go ahead and set that. Right now I got the soldering iron set to 230 degrees Celsius. Again, I don't have the proper tip for this one. I should definitely order one. So this one, I want to put the threads, I'm going to actually put it in upside down from the way I normally do it. I want to put them in, I'm going to put them in on the top, because the thing is I want the screws to be pulling down, so they're going to try to pull this through it. Normally you would want to put it on this side, but then it's going to try to just pull it out, whereas this is going to be harder. There's a bigger risk that the plastic is going to melt and get in the way of the threads, but it's going to be much more difficult to pull the screw through doing it this way. So we're going to go good. So see, now in order for this screw to pull out, it's got to actually take and pull all of this all the way through here, as opposed to just pulling out those little ribs. Give it a little bit more. That almost looks like I know what I'm doing. No extra plastic in there, perfect diameter. I was thinking of putting these ones on the top, but that came out so good that I might put them on the bottom and run a longer bolt through. Reloaded, extra brass. see that, but a little chunk of plastic in there. We're gonna try to push it through. There we go. Okay, so before we take care of that, I don't want all that in the way. We're actually going to take care of the controller housing first. So for that, I went through and made this. I didn't want to use the original one because I'm going to be running a jumper cable in there. We're going to have a lot of extra cable in there. Needed some extra room for the controller, and I figured if I get the bigger 52 volt controller, I'm going to need a little bit more space. So I just took the original mounting plate, which I left upstairs. I already know I made a mistake. These holes are just a hair too far apart because this one on the main one has like a full track, so I know it's not going to line up. So we're just going to have to shave it a little bit. And I got the Dremel right here. And I'm just going to take a little bit. Hopefully that's enough. Let's see. The holes for the screws have a deeper ring on it. We're just going to use it just to test. Make sure everything else fits. All the wires fit. Plenty of room for the cables, plenty of room for the power. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take the back off. So we can put our screws on. Bigger screws for that. So we can get our spacing right. So this is where I need those flathead screws. Hopefully they're going to Okay. Now we can flip this over. Car stopping outside, so we're gonna check. I think my Amazon delivery might be here. We made a little mistake. Cover has to go on before it gets secured because maybe on my other bike you couldn't get in there, but I just realized that we might be able to tighten. cable's definitely too long, but like I said, it was made for a different bike. Yeah, and we got power, so we're good there. Just waiting for those other screws to arrive. Got an M3 and M6. I think it's M6, yeah. M6. No, M5. I got 2 more jump drawers. We'll see. Maybe I got something. While we wait for Amazon. So on the cover design, you can't see it as I didn't want to do recessed screws, so I just made the opening just a hair smaller than the threads, and I'm just going to have it screw right into the PETG. Now the problem is I made the lid the same exact size, so I'm probably going to have to hit them with the Dremel real quick. Probably need more structural integrity of the lid, and possibly go 6 screws instead of 4. But got another message from Amazon. Screws aren't coming today, and I'm not going to be spending any more time on this, not until we figure out what's happening with these batteries. If they're not asking for these batteries back, then we don't need to go through and actually mount this for real. If you wanted to add a second battery, or if you wanted to replace the stock battery, maybe get something a little bigger that won't necessarily fit in here, you can get these. This was supposed to be a 20 amp hour. It's only 15, but this size case will actually fit a true 20 amp hour or larger. You could get, I think I've seen 30s as well. So if you want to get more range out of it, or if you wanted to bump up to a higher voltage, same thing. You can mount it on the rear rack, and then if you wanted to build like a housing that goes over this, so you can mount stuff on top of this as well. All good. So hope you liked the video. If you want to see more, like, subscribe. Be working on some more stuff in the future here. Till then, see you next time.